Hello and welcome back to the Introduction to Python series. In this video, we are going a bit deeper inside functions. In the previous video, we understood the basic syntax of a function, the definition keyword. In this video, we are going to discuss about return types and arguments in Python. In the previous video, we were discussing a function definition by calling def, function name, followed by circular brackets and the statements here. But it's not always possible to write everything in print statement. The basic example which we discussed was ATM validation, ATM pin validation. In ATM pin validation, we need to return true if the account number and the password was same. But if you just print true, it's of no use. So whenever we execute a function, we are expecting some return value. We are expecting something, the function which need to return. Like our common example, which is ATM validation. So what we want to return? We need to either return a true or false statement. So what is return? It's a control statement. Whenever the compiler encounters return statement, it goes back to the function call. Suppose I'm defining function A. Let me define the function A. I write set of code and I return true, for example. You can return any data type. You can return either a list or any other data type, integer, string, or any other thing. So whenever the compiler encounters return statement, it will go back to the function call. Suppose I'm storing it in a variable, so whatever might be the return value will be stored inside the variable A. Now let's do it in the compiler. Okay, let me write a function hello. And in the previous video we were just printing hello world. But what if I want to return? Like let me call the function, and if I execute the statement, I'll get print hello world. I'll get hello world. But what if I want to return this? I can simply replace it by return. If you want to return a string data type, hello world. And if I store it in a variable A, and let me print the value of A, I'll get it as hello world. I'm not just I'm storing it, and in the future I can just print the value of A. So the advantage of return statement is you will be storing this inside of variable A, and you can reuse it n number of times. This is about return statement. Suppose you want to return a list like 1 2 3 4 2 3 something, and if I execute these statements, so in the function definition, we are not priorly mentioning this data type is a list or an integer or a string. So you can return any data type you want. Suppose I can return multiple data types, like I'm returning a list, I'm returning another list, I'm returning a string, hello, I'm also returning an integer too. And if I execute this, I'll get it in the form of tuple. Let me print the type of A. So I'll get it in the form of tuple. So why tuple? As I already mentioned you, tuple is an immutable object. So you cannot change the values inside this. So a return value should not be changed. That's why we return it in the form of a tuple. Okay. This is all about return statements in Python. Okay. Now let's go back to the common example, which was ATM pin validation. ATM pin validation. Okay. This is the function. But in order to validate a pin and an account number, you need to have the account number as well as a pin. Okay, inside, so if you have written the logic inside this function, so you need two variables, which is account and pin. So in order to send these variables to a function, we write the function definition followed by function name, then the arguments which you want to send, like account number and of course ATM pin. So you validate it based on some logic and you return whether this is true or false. That is, this account number is associated with this pin or not. So basically, whenever you are passing a variable or a value inside a function, there arises two types of passing. One is pass by value and pass by reference. So what is pass by value? Pass by value is nothing but, suppose you have a variable a is equals to 10 and my function was f. It is taking a variable a and b. And whenever I'm calling the function with a comma b, a copy of a is sent inside the function, not the actual object itself. Suppose a's address is some 10,000. A copy of this value is sent inside the function. And if you modify this object, a new object will be created and it will be modified. Let me show you in the compiler, you'll understand it. Let me write a function, def function. I'm taking a variable a. For now, let me write pass in order to skip the logic, in order to avoid the errors. And I'm sending a value a. Let me define a is equals to 10. Let me print the value, the ID of a. It will show me the address of a. And let me also print ID of a after modification. So I'm sending 10 as a variable, 10 as a value. Let me update the value as a is equals to 11. Okay. And if I execute this, I got both the addresses has to be same. So what happens? Let me print the ID of a here. So I got a different address. So this is pass by value in Python. So what happens is when you are sending a variable, a copy of that object is created, and if you modify it, the modification is happening inside the function itself. Like see here, the initial address was 400, and if I change the value of a to 11, my address was changed to 432. But when I print it outside the function, the address was same. So only a copy of a was being modified. This is about pass by value in Python. Let me discuss about pass by reference. Okay, now let's discuss about pass by reference. So what we do is in pass by reference, we are sending the address of a variable. Suppose I have an object here associated with the address 100 and I'm sending it to a function a. Okay, and if I modify a, this will be replicated outside the function because we are sending a reference to the function. So whatever modification happen, it will happen inside this reference. So it will simply pass by reference is like a global variable. So whenever you are changing the value inside the function, it will reflect as a whole. But in pass by value is a local variable. Pass by value was a local variable. So whenever you are changing the value, it's just changing inside the function itself. Let us code it in the compiler. Okay. Now let me show you. Let me define a function f with the argument a. Let me print the value of, okay, first let me write pass. Let me define a list a is equals to, okay, some hello is equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3. Let me print the ID of hello. Let me print the ID of hello. Let me call the function by passing an argument. This argument need not to have the variable name a, it can be anything. Let me modify the value of a of 0 to be 1. Let me print ID of a. Let me print ID of hello and also print hello. Sorry, okay, let me take it as 100. If I run it, say I got ID of a is 152, 152, 152 everywhere. So this is pass by reference. And see hello. Initially hello was 123 which we defined, and after modifying it to 100, we got it as 10023. So it is pass by reference. So whenever you are modifying a list inside a function, it will be modified globally. So simply blindly believe that list is a global variable and integer strings are local variables because they are immutable, whereas list is mutable. So mutable objects are generally passed as reference and the other objects are passed by value. Okay, now let me tell you the order of arguments. Suppose I am passing two arguments a and b, and let me write c is equals to a plus b and print c. So this is the order of argument. Suppose you are sending value 10 comma 11. The first argument will take the first value. The second argument will take the second value. And if I execute the statement, I got it as 21. Suppose I write a minus b, and if I run, I'll get minus 1. What if I replace the values? So I'll get it as 1. So the order is important. The first value is gone to a, the second value is gone to b, or in general to the second variable. This is about arguments in Python. So in this video, we discussed about the return type, the ID function, and pass by value and pass by reference, and also arguments in Python. In the next video, we'll be discussing about keyworded arguments and default keyword. Thank you.